I recently got bumped from 90% to 100% on my VA disability rating, and we're going to break down what that actually means. Not just in the monthly pay, but in the benefits for your family, long-term security, and how it all works.
We're also going to talk about the difference between just hitting 100% versus being labeled permanent and total, and why that distinction really matters when it comes to things like healthcare, education, and housing.
I used a group called VetComm for the second claim, and I'll share what that experience looked like, especially after filing the first one on my own. Plus, we'll talk about some of the benefits you unlock when you make that jump. Things like Champ VA for your family, Chapter 35 education benefits, the VA home loan funding fee exemption, and state perks if you live in North or South Carolina. If you've ever wondered whether going from 90 to 100% is worth the effort, or if you felt stuck and not knowing where to start, this episode is for you. Let's get into it. Hello again, everyone. My name is Justin Woodall. This is episode 9 of our Navy Nuke Network podcast. Like we said in our intro, I have recently gone from 90 to 100%. We're going to talk about that. We're going to give you my experience and break it down how I actually got there. And we're going to give you an update on what we're looking like for our socials and our YouTube channel.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to this discussion on this particular podcast episode. I just want to give a shout out and real thank you to all of the subscribers who subscribe to our YouTube channel. Currently, as of now, we have just over 820 subscribers on our YouTube channel. So it's really great to see all the support from everyone out there, Navy Nukes and Navy alike. I think it's cool, at least from my perspective. We're getting, some seasoned people who are either Navy Nukes who are enlisted, or Navy Nukes who are, done with their careers. But I've definitely seen also some interaction with future Navy Nukes, if you will, right? People who are doing their research regarding the Navy and the nuke pipeline, stuff like that. So it's been also cool to see as far as that interaction goes.
Yeah, I'm happy to see that there are people that are actually doing some research, looking into, what it's going to be like. I wish I had a resource like the Navy Nuke Network when I was first trying to join to figure out, what was going to be in store and what was going to happen. Yeah. So it's definitely good for them for doing that. And we're, totally open to answering those questions for them.
Yeah, so, if you're watching this particular episode 9, and you still have not subscribed, right, we ask you please subscribe to the channel. We hope that at this point we've added and brought you some value, and we really hope to continue to do that. Yeah, what about LinkedIn? Do you have any of the stats on LinkedIn page?
Yeah, I do. I've got the LinkedIn up right here. It looks like YouTube is catching up to our LinkedIn as far as followers go. But for the Navy Nuke Network, currently, at the time of this recording, we have 913 followers on LinkedIn. A lot of good engagement there. I do apologize for my lack of posting on that. Managing all this is definitely something new for me and Caleb. But for me, trying to do all this and, have a job and 5 kids, it's a lot. But I promise I'll get back to doing that much more frequently.
So yeah, let's get a little bit more into the content of the channel, this particular episode, right? So mentioned it in the intro. You yourself, right, submitted a VA claim, and you initially had got a rating back of 90%. If you haven't watched that particular episode, podcast episode 6, so when Justin and myself really talk about our initial submission of our VA claims and the ratings that we received and just that general process as far as just initially submitting your claim. Justin talked about shortly in the episode about the appeal process. He was just starting to appeal his claim, and you can kind of review some of the reasons behind why before you kind of get into nitty gritty of the specific appeal process. But yeah, so initially received the 90% rating, and then you made the decision to appeal. So you want to just kind of remind the viewers about kind of like the why behind you decided to appeal your initial rating.
Sure. So for me, I've said it a few times, but I am physically broken, physically and mentally broken after my time in the military. A lot of things that have gone wrong medically for me. And I was sure and cognizant of the fact that I needed to have those things looked at by medical professionals, because I was a recruiter for the last 4 years, or 3, almost 4 years, and I had to go to civilian doctors. I just couldn't go to the base doctor or Navy hospital or anything to just have it in my military record. So I knew that I had a whole bunch of stuff in my record because I made sure that it was in there. When I tried to file the claim myself the first time, I did not quite understand how to input all those intricate small things that is wrong with me, all stemming from a lot of different things. Like the biggest thing, the biggest um, swayer here on my 90 to 100 was my back problems, which I know a lot of us have back
Mm,
problems, but I've been really, really struggling with back problems ever since, man, it must have been like 2018. I jumped off the top rack of a submarine, hit the floor during a drill to put my clothes on and everything. When I hit the floor, like I ruptured a few discs in my back and like instant pain down both legs. Couldn't walk. I was like walking like a cave troll, like all over the
wow.
submarine for a couple months because I couldn't do anything. But ever since then, I've had incredible back pain, nerve pain down both legs, all that kind of stuff. But anyways, when I filed my first claim by myself, it was it was I didn't know what to file that under, like all the different things I just talked about, all those pain stuff, and I ended up just getting like a back strain,
Mm,
10% for a back strain. I'm like, I get injections for this like every 6 months. I'm in constant physical therapy. I can't sit or stand more than 30 minutes to an hour without incredible pain. Like it should be more than 10%. I did this wrong. I don't know what I did wrong. I need to get help. So that's what set me up to do the next appeal or the next filing for what I did, and that's what led me to go the route that I ended up taking.
okay. So yeah, so what did you seek or look for when it comes to different avenues to start your appeal process? Yeah, what did you find?
Well, I did go through. I went through a private company after trying to figure out like a VSO or like maybe like going the attorney route or anything like that, or just specialists in the field of filing veterans claims. In my research and trying to find people, I just was kind of rubbed the wrong way. It seemed like they were just trying to get money out of me. Some of the people that I reached out to that weren't, free services like VSOs. Um, they're wanting those big paydays. They want a huge back pay situation where you get like 2, 3, or more years worth of back pay, and they end up taking like 20% of that. I didn't really like that whole route. None of them really even wanted to take me on because I filed in, so it's 2025, and I filed for my first claim for when I got out in March, right? So I got my like decision in April, right? Or yeah, April. So I got my 90% decision in April. When May came around, by May 12th is when I figured out this company that I want to go with, which we'll talk about in a minute. And then I did an intent to file through them, which that's like your back pay date. So that back pay date was May 12th. So from March to May 12th, there's not much time for back pay, right?
Right.
So those companies they weren't interested in me because they weren't going to get a huge payout on that. So they just basically told me no, that we're not doing that.
Mm,
And for the VSOs, I could have looked a little bit harder, but in my experience trying to find VSOs, some of them just seem kind of sketchy because they like don't have like representation online. Like it's all about like who you know, like do you know somebody or somebody that talked to somebody that did something with somebody that knows a good VSO. And for like the big VSO companies that have like VSOs that they can assign to you, they seem to be just kind of like bogged down by all the people that are trying to get these things done. So um, that's why I went for this company that I went with, which is called VetComm, spelled VETCOMM. And that's the company I ended up going with to do this whole process the second time around.
gotcha. Did you just like find them on like a Google search, or did you talk to someone who experienced going through like the appeals or the claim process with them? How'd you find out
Yeah,
about their existence? Yeah.
yeah. So for me being now a content creator, I am take um, great pride in the stuff that we put out, right? And I know that there's people out there that put in a lot of time and effort in making YouTube videos and stuff about what they're doing. So I was searching through YouTube trying to find people that are making content to teach me about what they do, like we're trying to teach people what we do, right? And I found VetComm through YouTube. They have um, a strong push on YouTube trying to inform the public about what they have. And then I have some other like veteran uh, YouTube channels that I watch that have called them out as to like a good option. So based off of those and the ratings and reviews, I ended up going with them because I like their structure. And how that structure works is they're going to help you, and it is a paid service, right? So it's upfront that that's going to be a paid service, but for them, it's not a percentage of your payout like others would be. So that would like range, right? If it's 20% of 1,000 or 20% of 20,000, that's going to be a big difference. For them, it's a set price, like one-time price, or you can like pay it over like a payment plan. But in their situation, which I can even share my screen here just so y'all can. So this is the VetComm website, and I'm on their pricing page here that talks about one-time payment, installments, or for 3 months, or installments for 6 months. And I ended up going with the one-time payment of $1,197. All right,
Okay.
and that's what I ended up going with. I mean, I know it seems like a lot of money. I mean, obviously, $1,100 and $1,200 is a lot of money, but when you're talking about the difference in compensation that you'll get, even like from 90 to 100% is the biggest jump, right? And we'll talk about that here in a minute. But I just in 1 month will make that up, basically,
Yeah.
right?
And that's
So
like payments
for
for the rest
me,
of your life compared to just that one time payment of, $1,100, $1,200.
yeah, and that's how they, the other people that take 20% or a percentage of your payout, and that's how people justify using them. It's like, well, I mean, yeah, they're getting their back pay, and I haven't been getting that for however many years, so I haven't really seen it anyways. So they can take this little 20%, and I'm getting paid for the rest of my life. So that's how they look at it, and that's how they end up doing it, right?
Yeah.
And they end up just making it a lot bigger than what it needs to be. But for this company, um, it ended up working out for me. So I got from the 90 to 100% with their help. And the first month, I got, once I did my CMP exam through them, like once they helped me get that and I got that scheduled, I got my CMP exam done. And 10 days later, I got my change. Like it was way faster than I thought it was going to be. I guess it's because you're not like um, going through like the whole legal process of trying to get your claim changed, like what you would do through an attorney. It's just kind of an appeal process or like reevaluation of the things that you've already gotten, looked at. So it's one of the things that they're really good at explaining is, well, one in the beginning they have some like videos for you to watch that explains, how you should approach looking at the problems that you have and identifying the things that can be used to file a claim. But they tell you about, like, if you already have a claim that you got things that are service connected, right? If you already have something that has been service connected, it's much easier to do like a second claim to add stuff to that original claim, like it's like a secondary condition to whatever, right? And an example would be um, like nerve pain or nerve, in my situation, like nerve pain and nerve damage from that back trauma that I had, right? So you have that as a secondary thing to something that in my first claim they service connected. So now I have something that's just in addition to that. If you're trying to, they also show you that if you're trying to add something onto uh, onto your claim and you don't have medical proof, that's fine. There's ways to go about it, like going to the doctor to get that stuff done, and they kind of explain and walk you through how to do that, or like getting buddy letters or getting nexus letters from the doctor, or something that will make that thing that service connected. And they have this whole breakdown. They give you a kind of like a workbook where you go through and you write out all the different things that are wrong with you, all the things that are primary, all the things that are secondary, how they can be linked. They have videos that walk you through everything. And then you have like an agent that works with you, that gets on the VA website with you, and they help you file the intent to file, which is important because that's when you're going to get back paid to, and then they help you initiate the claim, and help you type up everything that's supposed to go in there in the exact way it's supposed to be, because there's certain ways it has to be said, and they help you do that so that you can schedule your CNP exams. Then they have an agent that contacts you before you start your CNP exam for the second time, and they'll walk you through and kind of not, they call it like a coaching, right? They
Hmm.
like, hey, don't forget you're got to talk about this and that, because if you don't
Yeah.
talk about it, then they're not going to. Which in my first CNP exam, I didn't get this before. I didn't have this help, and I forgot to talk about stuff. Like some of the things that I filed, I didn't get service connected because we just didn't even talk about it, and
Yeah.
that was a crazy experience, that first CNP exam. But yeah, so there's a certain way you're supposed to do things so that you can cover everything that you have, in your claim. So they were very influential in getting me to the across that, from 90 to 100% mark.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. Obviously, some of the things that stood out is like kind of like just juxtaposition, right? Comparing your two instances of filing, and there was convenience initially, right, in trying to file on your own, right? Just kind of utilizing the VA side and that portal. We've talked about it before, right? It's a pretty intuitive portal. So you kind of feel and maybe get some amount of confidence, like, oh, I can file this by myself and have no issues. But there's a difference between, filing, right, and just making sure that paperwork gets submitted and you actually get a particular rating back, and then having an actual accurate file that represents exactly what you went through and utilizing the specific language, and just going through a specific process in the manner that's going to give you again the most accurate deserving rating in the end. And it sounds like between like the agent that you said that the VetComm offered and the kind of coaching and even like the videos sound all like really helpful, kind of just really showing you the specific details and process. Because I mean, again, right, we're talking about getting these disability payments the rest of your life, right? So it's definitely a investment of time, and obviously, right, you invested some money when it comes to utilizing VetCom as a resource, but well worth the investment when it comes to the time and money when it talks about really giving you that support and the resources that you deserve, right? And that people in the military and specifically right for our particular audience, Navy nukes deserve for the rest of your life. So no, it's really awesome to hear. We kind of just described specific resources and how they definitely added value to you.
Yeah, and one of the best things that I think that came out of that, or at least best pluses out of it, is how quick it was.
Yeah.
Right? Like like when you file the first time, it took forever to get a word back and try to figure it out. But once those things are, when it's done the right way, and you like have the appeal or like the second claims or the secondary conditions, when you go to the CMP exams, they're just evaluating what's already there, like already in your medical file, already like presented information that you need. They're not diagnosing you with anything. That's not their job. They're just trying to see what you have in your record, see you physically in the office, and match those things up. That's basically all they're doing. And they made it really easy for that to happen. And bro, like 10 days after a CNP exam, that's crazy.
Yeah, that's wild.
I was expecting like it. I got it like July 8th, right? I got my thing back in July 8th, and I told you my May 12th was my intent to file. So I did an intent to file with them on May 12th, got everything done, and the answer back by July 8th. And now it's going to take
It
only that
takes
long
10
for my
days,
stuff.
right?
It only takes 10 days after your CNP exam. There's everybody's different, different problems or issues, whatever. I was just expecting it to be like September or October when I finally got word back, and not 10 days. So that's one of the biggest perks about it for me, and it's something that I'm very excited about.
Definitely. So yeah, we talked about right. You going from the 90% to the 100% rating. There's also other terminology out there when it comes to ratings, permanent and total. Right, there's something that exists out there. Me myself don't know exactly what that means or how that applies when it comes to your ratings. So if you can kind of enlighten the viewers here, what is difference between 100% rating and then also like having that permanent and total designator?
Sure, I can do that for you. I actually can't. Hold on. Like I'm gonna make sure I say the right thing.
Yeah, there you go. You're good.
So permanent and total and 100% are very similar, but not exactly the same. 100% does mean that you have either one condition or a combination of conditions that give you a 100% rating. You do get the full compensation, but the biggest kicker on that is that you have to get evaluations, like medical evaluations on your conditions that are in your VA disability rating every like 2 to 5 years. So if you're not permanent in total, that's what that means. So your 100% has to be reevaluated every once in a while, right? But permanent in total means well, the permanent part means it's permanent. It's not going to change. It's not expected that the conditions that you have are going to be getting better, right? As for what we talked about before, the 100%, you might have things on your disability rating that won't or could get better, and that's why they're going to evaluate you. For permanent and total, the things that you have wrong with you, they're not expected to get better. It is a permanent rating, and total meaning 100% for one or all of your conditions. So permanent and total also opens up a few more avenues, which we're going to talk about in a minute, like Chant VA for your family, like your healthcare, and things like the Chapter 35, which is like benefits for like education for your dependents and stuff like that. But yeah, that's the biggest difference between like permanent and total and just 100% in itself.
Yeah, that makes sense. So, like for me, obviously my rating very very low comparative to yours, but I was notified of my rating via like a letter, right? So there's a letter, and then also you can go on VA.gov. Um, how do you know specifically, like if you have that permanent and total designator on top of your 100% rating?
Yeah, so if you don't know if you have permanent and total or not, it will be if you have permanent and total, it'll be on your claims letter. Yeah, your claims letter that you get that you'll get one like digital one that you can download from your VA website, or they'll also mail one to you that kind of talks about, hey, it has like your addresses up at the top. We made a decision for your VA. I'm looking at mine right here. You made a decision on your VA benefits, and it says like this letter will guide you through the information you should know and the steps you may take now that the VA has made a decision on your benefits. And then it lists all the different benefits that you had and got elevated. Like in mine, like I have, it said like you had the 10% for this, and then it got increased to whatever percent. And it goes through all that. In that, like mine's 23 pages long. In there, it'll talk about permanent and total as something that you're given, and then it'll like tell you what next steps you can take for the basic eligibility for your dependents education assistance,
Yeah,
which is what the chapter 35, which we were talking about.
awesome. Yeah, so I mean,
I'm sure there's probably other places in the VA website that you can find the permanent and total, the P&T, but
right,
that's at least one place that I know. Yeah.
that makes sense. So yeah, I mean, obviously up to this point, right? Going from 90 to 100, right? It's a big difference, right? And we have some information and some specific data points. I don't know if you have that ready, if you want to pull it up, or I can just say it verbally. Um, but the difference, right, between having like 90% when it comes to your monthly compensation, it's going to be around $2,100 to $2,200 a month, right? And then going to 100%, right, it's going to be around $4,400 to $4,500 a month, right? So I mean, it's almost doubling the difference in monthly compensation, right? Which is obviously a huge difference, especially when you're looking at a lifespan, right? If you're looking for multiple years, and it is, and if you definitely have that permanent and total designator where it's not going to change. So yes, I mean, if you're someone who is 90% and you feel like you've gone through a similar situation as far as Justin, when it comes to initially filing your claim, and there's different aspects of your particular claim that you didn't fully go through thoroughly or do correctly or go through the correct resources. I mean, not this just the compensation right there is just shows you that's well worth your time and effort to figure out a way to get reevaluated if necessary.
Yeah, it's definitely a big jump. I'm here on the VA.gov website, and I opened up the compensation rates for 70 to 100% disability. And this here is just like veteran alone. Like, so if you don't have any dependents or anything, you can see the big difference between at 90%, you got basically $2,300, and then going to 100% is $3,800. Like that's a big difference, just for a single veteran, right? And like what Caleb was talking about, like going all the way up to like 4,500 or more. Like say if you have a bunch of kids, right? So you can see as it goes up, dependents. You can have like your spouse, your kids. If your parents are like dependents, like they're listed as a dependent for you through the VA because you like are a caretaker for them. And then if you keep going down, it talks about each additional child under the age of 18, which is what I have to do for mine. So you can see like everyone over the like spouse with children. You can see I got five, right? So you take this and multiply it by how many kids you got over what they already have up at the top, and it adds up. So for mine, it's $4,600, right?
Yeah,
So
it's
forty six hundred
huge.
dollars, that's a lot. It's a big thing, big benefit for veterans if they can get to that 100% and have things that um, rightfully so get them to that 100%.
Yeah, so um, both of us, right, transitioned relatively recently. So we talked about you not really any difference when it comes to back pay, right? The difference between your 90 to 100% and your initial claim only being a couple months ago. Maybe some of our viewers or other veterans who has had multiple years of time since getting, compensation. When it comes to that back pay, are you familiar with exactly how that back pay works, and how that's specifically delineated or paid out to you?
Yeah, so it's important, and again, like we are not VA experts. We're definitely not. I just happen to have a little bit more insight because I had to go through all this and I had so much wrong with me that I had to get looked at, right? So in the future, we hope to have a VA subject matter expert to come on here. So if you know one like a VSO or somebody that's like really knowledgeable that works in this is what they do for a living, we would love to talk to them, have them on an episode to talk about all this stuff in detail, right? But from what my understanding, you get back pay based off of that intent to file. So whenever you do your intent to file, you have a year from that time to get all of your medical stuff together to submit and have for the decisions and the CMP exams that you have to file. So if from in my instance, if I did my intent to file on May 12th of 2025, I have all the way up until 2026, May 12th to do that. If I filed in 2026 and all this happened and I got the payout or whatever, it got jumped to 100%, then I would get the difference in pay. So my back, so for me, it was like about $1,600 a month difference. I would get that for the last 12 months back up to May 12th of my, intent to file date. Um, Now, I don't know how it really works for people that are beyond that, 12-month period from the intent to file, or if they're like been out for, quite a while, 4 or 5 years, and they're trying to, get something that's service connected done. I mean, I understand it's harder to do. I'm not in that situation, so I can't really speak to that. But for your intent to file, that's how it's going to work. And when you get paid out, in they only pay in full months, right? So for me, my intent to file was May 12th. I got my decision July 8th, right? So I got paid in May for my 90% rate, but they're not going to prorate the 12th through the 31st on that date, on that month. They're not going to back pay me for the month of May because they pay me for the month of May. It's not a full month. The next month, which was June, that was a full month that I got compensation, but that was beyond my intent to file date. So that was a full month that I got paid back because I got, July 8th is the day I got paid back. So I got paid 1 month worth of difference in my situation. So they only pay you for entire months that you have gone past your intent to file, not prorated. It won't be like half of a month of pay. So that's something I thought I was gonna get like a month and a half, but I
Right.
did not. So I wasn't expecting that, but it makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. No, definitely makes sense. Yeah, so you alluded to it earlier as well, right? One of the benefits of the permanent and total designation is access to Champ VA health care for your dependents. And obviously, you, someone, family, right? 5 children, have a spouse, some extremely important and valuable for someone in a situation like you. So, what are some of the benefits of the Champ VA for dependents? And what does it offer?
Sure. So Champ VA is going to be healthcare for you and your family or you and your dependents. It's going to have a very minimal copay. It's like 50 to $100, something like that. You can do the cost share as well option, which is still very, very cheap in comparison to like civilian healthcare, right? And that it's free, right? So you don't have to pay for it. You just have to pay like with the things I just talked about. So if you have copay, pay copay, but you don't pay like a monthly thing for Chant VA. Um, Big difference. It's a big change from civilian healthcare. I have had to do civilian healthcare for the last few months since I got out of the military. It's costing me for me and my 5 kids. My wife is a federal employee, so I do get a better than other people in my situation. So I am grateful for that. But I'm paying almost $900 a month for healthcare for my kids. So kids and wife. So that's it's a big deal. Um, Keep in mind that people that do retire from the military, right? They may be using TRICARE. So if you retire from the military, you do get TRICARE. You can't do TRICARE and Chant VA. You got to do one or the other. And I think, again, I'm not an expert, right? But if you have TRICARE, if you are eligible for TRICARE, you're not going to get Chant VA anyways, or it might be vice versa. But please look into that if you're in that situation. Um, Keep in mind that Chant VA does not pay for dental, so you will have to do another dental route, which there are dental options that are cheaper, that are veteran friendly type stuff that you can do, but it's not going to be free. So yeah, that's what the Chant VA stuff is. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Yeah, definitely a huge benefit, right? That you talk about being on the civilian side, and especially if they're right Navy Nuke specifically in our particular group and audience, if they haven't served their full 20 years, right, and they're not getting that TRICARE from a retirement. This is a huge right benefit and definitely something of value that is worth it, right? And if you're someone who is, let's say, right in Justin's scenario at that 90%, and you're just, oh well, that money obviously I would expect to be convincing enough, right, to put in the effort as necessary. Again, if you deserve and earn based on your specific situation medically, that full 100%. The dependent benefits on top of that as well, I feel like is enough to hopefully motivate you to really do the research and connect, whether it be VetComm or any of the other resources that are out there to really do the due diligence, right? To ensure you're supporting yourself. And again, that you're getting everything you deserve, right? The Veterans Affair, right? VA is there for a reason, right? Veterans are in need of support, whether it be, healthcare, financial support, right? And you have earned that as a benefit. So really seeking the avenues to ensure that you're maximizing that benefit is, imperative and important. And that's why we're here to give you that information.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the other things, when you do get to that 100%, there's a lot of different things that you can look into. Obviously, there's federal things that you can look into, but state, whatever state that you're in, they can have veteran specific benefits for you. Um, for us, like I'm in North Carolina and Caleb's in South Carolina. There are a few things that you can benefit from, which the federal option of what some of the federal stuff is like. Um, you can get like a hunting and fishing license for like forever, right? You can get a hunting and fishing license for free. You can get if you apply for it, you can get like the disability tag for your car. I'm not really sure how that process goes, but I know that you can get the disability or a disabled tag to park in the handicap spot.
Right.
So you can get that. Uh, Something else like on the federal side before we get into state side is you can do the Chapter 35 the VA Chapter 35 stuff for your dependents, which we were talking about a little bit earlier in my letter that I got. But for that, they'll give you your dependents a stipend. It's like $1,400 a month or something like, or yeah, $1,400 a month like stipend for them to go to school, and
Mm.
that's like through 8 semesters. So if your kids are going to school, your spouse can also use it within the 10-year point of you getting your rating. So your spouse has 10 years to use it too. So your kids can use that. It's not going to pay it in full, obviously, right? But they'll give you $1,400 a month to pay for your school stuff, and that can be used in conjunction with like the Pell Grant or any scholarships or anything like that, or post 9/11 GI Bill stuff. But for like the state, for North Carolina, like property taxes, it's pretty cool. You can get like $45,000 taken off the evaluation for your home
Wow,
and for your taxes.
that's
I'm
huge.
pretty sure South Carolina is 100%. You don't have to pay taxes.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
heard that
So
as well.
100% for the South Carolina, you don't have to pay property taxes at all, which is really cool, right?
Yeah, very cool.
I know in North Carolina, um, you can get one of like if you have multiple cars, like car registrations, like you don't have to pay for that. So one of your cars can just be like you don't have to pay for registration. Um, so that's also pretty cool. And for everyone, for federal, which I forgot to mention, is like your VA loan, VA funding fee that you have for a VA loan, which it's the first VA loan that you get is a little less, like 1.5 or like 2%. Go back and look at the VA loan podcast that I did with John. Talk about that, but you have a funding fee that you have for the VA loan when you buy a house, and when you get 100% disabled, or you get actually a disability rating at all, you don't have to pay that. So that's just if you have 10% rating or more, you don't have to pay that fee, which is nice. So
Yeah.
just be aware that we did not say all of them. There are many different benefits you can get in your state or nationally that if you get to that point, 100% like unlocks a couple of those things that you can take advantage of.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy to hear. It's so many things that are out there, so many things that, you don't really know until you look into and really understand the benefits. So definitely getting 100% right, finding a process, appealing, doing what you did when it comes to your particular claim is obviously worth it. I would say it's just extremely important, obviously, to advocate for yourself, like I kind of mentioned earlier. If you're someone who is deserving, right, again, of those benefits and access to those benefits that exist, right, you're doing yourself a huge disservice of not, doing whatever due diligence is necessary to again gain access to that. So yeah, definitely encourage everyone out there, right? Seek out people who can help, right? Utilize resources like Justin said earlier as well. We definitely intend on getting a subject matter expert when it comes to VA claims, getting them on the channel, right? Being able to ask them questions and get, really hardcore facts when it comes to the process. So again, right, everyone's making informed decisions when it comes to their individual circumstances.
Exactly. Yeah, don't leave benefits that you've earned on the table. They're there for a reason. These things are in place because you serve the country and you deserve these things, right? That's what our country has put in place to help people like you, um, because you definitely deserve it. So I want to ask one more time, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel. Follow us on LinkedIn. Let all your Navy Nuke buds, let all your Navy Nuke friends, your Navy Nuke family, let them know about what's going on with the Navy Nuke Network. Spread it around. If there's anybody that's in that process of like transitioning out, especially if they're trying to do their VA claims, send them a link to this video. Send them a link to the other video that we did for VA claim stuff, and keep the notifications turned on so you know when our videos come out.
Yeah. So thanks everyone again for watching Navy Nuke Network Podcast. See you guys on the next one.